Tambo succeeded in 30 years of mobilization and organization of the struggle from exile in keeping our forces united. There were breakaways, but none of those breakaways shattered the ANC.
A luta continua, as the Tanzanians were saying. The struggle continues. We are coming home, and this struggle is going to end, and the people of South Africa are going to win.
If negotiations did not happen, we would then have a scorched earth in South Africa.
There is an ongoing revolt which the regime has failed to repress. It has cost hundreds of lives. And a government which must kill people every day to stay in power is a government that is losing control.
He initiated the contacts and the interactions with representatives of the regime, even when sometimes many people in the National Executive Committee were not happy.
Maybe a landmark point would be the drawing up of the Harare Declaration, where the possibility of negotiating independence, freedom, rather than fighting to the bitter end arose. The question was, what do you put on the table? What were you fighting for all the time?
That was OR's crowning achievement, because he steered the process of putting forward a perspective that would say, in spite of all the dangers, this is how South Africa should move through negotiations to a democracy.
He'd been traveling throughout the frontline states and further afield to meticulously brief every single leader about the ANC's change of tack, etc. You know, he didn't spare himself one iota.
There was no let-up, you know. I've got notes of Oliver that he sent me in his handwriting, just short notes, saying I have to be here and I have to come there and I'll be in London on so-and-so. It's exhausting. And just leave it there. So there was no self-pity. Adelaide would say, stop it. You're going to kill yourself. And he wouldn't listen.
She said, you're driving yourself too hard, you know, at the rate you're going, you're not going to be around, you're going to die before liberation. And his reply was, I had other plans for my life. I wanted to be a minister of the Anglican Church with Bishop Clayton. After we married, I was going to train for the ministry in Cape Town, but God had other plans for me. God's plan was for me to fight in the political liberation for my people. And that's what he was going to do until the end of his life.
Having decided to fight, we managed to launch and sustain an all-round offensive, which has finally brought the apartheid system to the brink of defeat.
He was going through all these countries to tell them what our negotiating position was. It must have been a tremendous strain on him, and that's when he had his stroke. After his stroke, he was in Sweden. When the ANC was unbanned, I said, I don't know what you want me to do. I would like to go home, but I'm not deserting you. So he said, Nell, he used to call Mandela Nell. He said, Nell is now chairing the National Executive, so go and talk to him and he'll tell you what to do.
I went into the plane. I said, how does it feel? Mission accomplished. I brought my people home. And from now on is the way forward.
when he came back and the crowds were there at the airport to greet him, and later on also when we deposited the ANC archives, on both occasions he referred that I have done my duty. Now, this is your organization. That was what he was saying. He was leaving it up now to the people in the country to take on.
My parents and all the ANC leadership and rank and file trusted each other. You had to, because people were in the country, you didn't know what was going on half the time. But the relationship between my father and Uncle Nelson, surviving 30-odd years, in fact, and when they met up again, after he'd had the stroke, they just laughed when they saw each other, and they embraced, and they just, you know, chat.
I remember the moment, and that was beautiful. Dad says to Uncle Nelson, after you, as they're going through the store. And he says, no, after you. He says, no, I insist, after you. And they kept this up, and everybody else was in fits of laughter. For me, it symbolized the respect, you know, the love between them.
Oh, it was sweet to see them together. They were like boys. It's like all the, you know, because they were both old men, but it was as if they were just back to being young men again, and joking and laughing and reminiscing. Oh, it was wonderful to see.
I think I'm very sad that, let me put it this way, that he didn't vote. You see, I'm sad about that. I'm sad that the people in South Africa didn't know him enough, particularly the youth. They never had a chance.
The legacy of Tambo is an unwavering commitment to the removal of oppression and exploitation. Not just oppression. The Freedom Charter, which they helped shape, is not just based on political freedom. It's based on an emancipation of people so that they are empowered, they have charge of their lives, and the people takes charge of their destiny. That means freedom at all levels, including economic.
What I would like, or what I would encourage the next generation and the next generation to do, is never to forget the thorny road that was traveled by those who came before them, among them led by Oliver Tambo.
Yeah, it was sad, you know, because my mother really wanted those years that she had never had with him and had looked forward to them all her life. So that was sad for me.
I don't think she ever got over his death. You know, she loved him deeply, and he loved her too.
It does cause you to reflect a lot and think about the life you've had when your father passes, you know, and all the things that could have been if it had been a normal life. But once they're gone, you know. So I cherish the memories. I still, when I go to his grave, talk to him, because my mother used to.
The most important thing that I learned from my father is that you must never sit still for injustice. It doesn't matter. It can be someone jumping in front of someone else in a queue. Don't keep quiet. Because when you start to get used to keeping quiet, you'll never open your mouth.
And I feel privileged to have lived as the seed of such a man, to be the subject of his unconditional love. And that's what I miss most, is just walking into a room, seeing this big beaming smile, you know, and receiving all that personal love.